count on.
Sure. When the governor says what I said, you can be pretty sure that she's not telling the truth.
Right now, my full commitment is to New Mexico for the next 4 years.
Governor Susana Martinez and Gary King square off in their final debate here on KOAT. Tonight, we break down their answers, including how the candidates feel they did. And unlike previous debates, neither knew the questions until they were asked.
Having to think on their feet made for a very heated debate. Anchor Royal Day has the highlights.
Governor Susana Martinez and Attorney General Gary King agree New Mexico needs more jobs. They do not agree on how to do it.
We have to focus our largesse on our own New Mexico businesses. We have to stop outsourcing to businesses from out of state. We should be focusing on helping our film industry. We should be focusing on helping our construction industry.
That's why we have to diversify our economy and make sure that there are jobs of all kinds. We have to make sure that we welcome businesses from all over the country.
On raising the minimum wage, King says he favors it.
One of the things that will help our economy the quickest is that people that are making a minimum wage of $7.50, not even enough to take care of your family. Those people, if they make another $1 an hour, will certainly go and spend that in communities.
Martinez, though, scoffed at King's stance.
It's interesting that my opponent, while he was a state representative, actually voted against raising the minimum wage. Voted against it a couple of times. And not until he starts to run for governor does he then begin to actually say that that's what he wants to do, is raise it.
The governor vetoed the minimum wage last year, 2 years ago now. She likes to talk about votes that I took 10 or 15 years ago, but we're talking about what's happening right now.
And when talking about educating poor children in our state, the gloves really came off.
My opponent, however, has clearly said that poor children cannot learn. And that is so disappointing to hear, because they may be poor and have difficult situations at home. However, I believe that every single child can learn, and that's why we have invested more money in education than ever before.
She's right about education. She is wrong about what I said about poor kids learning. And once again, like I said, she likes to misstate what I've said. I have said this, that children who live in poverty and who are hungry, and we have the most children who go to bed hungry every night in New Mexico. Children who go to bed hungry have a hard time learning the next day when they get to school.
As the debate ended, a final appeal to New Mexicans.
And the choice is very clear. I think that the best days for New Mexico are ahead of us, because I believe in New Mexico. And we cannot ever return to the days of the past.
One of the things that's important is that your elected officials be willing to address the problems and tell you the truth. And you've seen a lot of things from the governor, advertisements that they do, things that she said tonight that are just not the truth. And we're never going to solve our problems in New Mexico unless we tell the truth.
In Albuquerque, Royal Day, KOAT, Action 7 News.
So who had the edge in tonight's debate? Action 7 News reporter Matt Howerton spoke with our political analyst Brian Sanderoff to find out.
Yeah, Doug, behind in the polls, Gary King had to come out tonight and be extremely aggressive. Now, we saw glimpses of that, but overall, neither candidate had an outright edge. Questions and jabs swirled around our studios this evening as Governor Martinez and her challenger, State Attorney General Gary King, suited up for their last gubernatorial debate before Election Day. Top subjects: New Mexico's lackluster education, the state's crumbling economy, and poverty which continues to rise.
There were no home runs hit by either candidate, and there were no major mistakes.
King, who's behind in the polls, needed to come out of the gate swinging. He went on the attack several times, but KOAT political analyst Brian Sanderoff says he never truly landed a knockout punch.
But he just doesn't come off as forceful and as in control of the situation as he should, as he needs to, as someone who's behind in the polls.
Governor Martinez, who's leading the race, only needed to play defense. But on several occasions, she was given chances to go on the offense, and she took them.
She did not just sit back and try to hold her own tonight. She actually was on the attack.
All in all, Sanderoff says both candidates made positive ground and didn't say anything to hurt their campaign. But he also noted that tonight's debate didn't have the fireworks many were expecting. A majority of the votes for this election are expected to be cast early, so tonight was really King's last chance to push Governor Martinez in an unfavorable light before voters head back to the early voting polls tomorrow. Back to you.
And you've heard what the experts think about the debate, but what about the candidates themselves? We caught up with Gary King and Governor Martinez away from the podium to see how they think they did. Governor Martinez and State Attorney General Gary King each inched their way through tonight's gubernatorial debate, calling out the other on both policy and reform. But what was going on in their heads behind the podiums?
I did feel a little more comfortable as we went along with the format, and hope that people will listen to what both of us said and will evaluate what we both said. But yes, definitely a little nervous to start.
This isn't the first televised debate for either King or Martinez, but both started off with jitters. King told us after the debate he hopes his points came across clearly to voters.
We have to speak more in overall broad policy sort of bites, but I hope, yeah, that people will get the message.
Governor Martinez told us tonight's debate provided transparency to voters.
Whether they want a politician who's going to take us back to the failed policies of the past, or are we going to keep building on the progress and the successes that we've had so far?
With King behind in the polls, Martinez was under fire during most of the debate, but she says she was oblivious to many of the jabs King took.
It just rolls off my back. It doesn't matter to me one bit.
Both Martinez and King left our studios tonight with things they'll apply to the campaign trail. And with 15 days until the election, they're in the home stretch now.